Yes. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the CAD Quality Exchange call. My name is Audrey, and I will be your moderator today. Feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation by typing them in the chat box on the right hand of your screen, or press *6 to come off mute. The slides and links to the presentation will be sent out within 1 to 2 weeks from today's presentation. I will now turn it over to the presentation to Lonnie Dent, our Senior Director of Quality.
Good morning, everyone. This is Lonnie Dent. I am Regional Vice President of Quality and Systems Improvement and Mission Lifeline for the American Heart Association Southwest. And we also have Kristen Waller on the line. She is our Director of Quality and Systems Improvement for the American Heart Association Southwest Arkansas and the state of Arkansas. So before, we have a slide set this morning that contains updates and announcements that we want to present to you. But I want to just take a few minutes before we get started with that and just see if there's any questions that anyone wants to make sure that we cover during our time together this morning, or anything that you want to share. And if so, you'll want to come off mute. Everyone's line is muted, and so to come off mute, you'll hit *6, not #6, but *6 on your phone, and that will unmute you. And then after you're done speaking, you can hit *6 again and go back on mute. So I just want to give anybody an opportunity to ask a question if there are any before we get started.
Hey, Lonnie, it's Kristen. And I also wanted to mention that if you join with computer audio, then to come off mute or mute, it's probably at the bottom. If you hover at the bottom, there should be a microphone there as well.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. Wanted to start with the version 4.0 update. So we had an exciting new update that happened in December, just a month ago. We're on version 4.0 of Get With the Guidelines Coronary Artery Disease. And so for those of you who like to, print things off, like the coding instructions, the data collection form, you're going to want to make sure and go into the library once you log in and update all of the, or download all of the updated forms. So a bunch of things got updated, and they have the label of December 2019 on them. What's nice about many of the documents is that they're highlighted in yellow. The changes are highlighted in yellow, so it makes it easy for you to just scan the documents and identify which things are different. So I'm going to just run through some of the updates. We have a new tab that where you can select if the patient was transferred out to another acute care facility. If they were not admitted as an inpatient. This is very common for our referring hospitals to get the patients in and out quickly, to transfer most of their patients out, especially their STEMI patients, and not keep them. And what this does for the referring hospital is it adjusts the data entry form so that it's more of what we call a short form or a streamlined form, so the abstractor doesn't have to see all of the data elements that are not applicable to the patient that are transferred out. And then we have, we've always been able to select, or we have for a while, if the patient was enrolled in a clinical trial during their hospitalization. But now you're going to be able to go through and check yes, and the type of clinical trials. And I think there are about 8 different clinical trial options, and then another tab as well. If they don't fit into one of the categories that's there. And then we also have added emergent placement of LV support device to non-system reason for delay to PCI. and then was diagnostic coronary angiography performed, and the date and time and the reason for not performing the diagnostic angiography. And then we have a whole new risk stratification score section. So was it documented, and you have the ability to select which risk stratification method that was used, and then if Grace or Timmy were used, then you have the ability to enter the score on the form, or if you're using something else, there's a section for that, or if there's no risk stratification score documented. And then you've always been able to select whether comfort measures only have been ordered, but now after January 1st, it's going to be required on the discharges, the date and time that order was submitted. So recognition is coming soon. We are really, we're starting to look at all of the 2019 discharges. I know many of you received information during what we call our data days, a week that we send reports to our hospitals to let them know how they're doing on each of the performance measures. And we just want to alert everyone that the deadline is coming soon for you to have your patients' data the way you want it to look for 2019 for recognition purposes. So Friday, February 28th is the deadline for data entry for your 2019 discharges. And we will be in March. Your regional director will be taking a look at your data in March. If we see hospitals that are not at recognition level, that they look like they're close, or they look like there's something that they can do to edit patients or modify the data to get to recognition level, we will be reaching out to you to let you know about your status and to see if there might be some that you might be able to edit, do final edits on in March. And then we'll be able to notify hospitals that are recognized in May or June of this year. And then the U.S. News and World Report release will include the gold and silver recognized hospitals in the summer edition. This is a reminder that this is the first year that a hospital will not receive recognition if they've not gone in and selected their STEMI receiving or STEMI referring designation in the CAD questionnaire in the platform. So once you're in the platform, if you go to a section called Form Management, you're going to see that you have the ability to select your the PCI capability of your hospital, if you're STEMI receiving center or STEMI referring center. And that's necessary so that we know how to run the measures for your hospital, because they're different, depending on whether you're referring or receiving. So make sure that that is complete for your facility so that we can run your data for recognition this year. And it's under Form Management. So now, we want you to be able to, with recognition season coming upon us, we want you to be able to see if you're at recognition level and, which patients are falling out, which ones you might have the opportunity to edit, to go back and look to see if there's documentation, if a medication was contraindicated or something similar. So I want to show you how to run the patient fallout reports. Option 1 and Option 2 CAD participants are able to do the real-time report functionality. Option 3 hospitals are not able to do this. So I'm going to just pause sharing my screen for just a moment until I get into the demo site. And then just know that the slides will be available to you, and the instructions are in this slide set. So let's see if I can switch my screen view. Okay, and if Kristen or Audrey or someone is able to come off mute, let me know if you can see my screen, and then I'm into the demo site.
Yes, we can see the demo site.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Lonnie, we can also see your slides kind of behind that. Is it full screen, your demo?
Let me see if I can get.
I mean, it's big enough to see. It just, I can see the slides a little bit behind it, so I didn't know if it was full size or not.
Okay.
But it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of see that slide set in the back too. I'm not sure how to get rid of it, but I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna be going back to him, so I'll just leave him there. So you have the ability, once you've logged in, you have the ability to get to the reporting section. You can click over here in this section, this kind of dashboardy section on operational reports, or you can click here to get to the reports. And once you've done that, you're going to have 3 options. You're going to get into the measures reports. That's where we're going today to get to patient fallout. But this is also where you can get your Mission Lifeline report. You can get your Mission Lifeline feedback reports, which are these wonderful, just automated reports that you can run for the click of a button for your EMS agencies and your referring hospitals. I love these. If you haven't played around here, I would encourage you to do so. Instead of entering all of your times manually that you want to send back out to EMS, you can get them in an automated report, and then you can add your pre and post cath films and or the 12-lead ECG. It's a Word document, so you can add whatever you want to, notes and such in the feedback reports. And then here in the data download report, this is also a really wonderful feature. You can pull for any time period that you want all of your raw data. So everything that you've entered on any patient in the history of the registry, you can pull back in the download report into Excel and play with it that way, which is a wonderful, wonderful feature. So I'm going to go into Measures Report. And I'm going to select a time period. So this is a demonstration hospital. So just know that the data is fake. There aren't real patient records in here. So I'm going to look for recognition purposes. You're going to want to select 2019. You can do it quarter by quarter, or you can do it for the entire year. And I'm going to select the entire year so I can see all of my fallout for 2019. And so then you're going to come down here and select which report you want. Your STEMI and STEMI achievement measures is going to get, these are your recognition measures, the measures that are required for recognition, or your STEMI receiving center achievement measures. So I'm going to go here. You could also, if you know that you're just falling out on 1 or 2, you can just select the one that you want here, but I'm just going to select all of them. And I'm going to apply parameters, which is a fancy way of saying run the report. And then if you, we're not going to go into filters today, but this is where you filter if you're wanting to do that. And then this is where this is kind of like your easy button now for printing reports. And then there's also a tab here that allows you to export and print in PDF, PowerPoint, and Excel. So just the tabs have been moved around a little bit, so just wanted to point that out. So I want to get, you're going to, all of your measures are going to show up here, and you can scroll down, you can scroll through them to see all of them. But a nice way to look at all of them at the same time is to come down here to display options and just click on graph similar measures. And that way everything is going to show up on one graph, and you can see easily where you're falling out. So I can see here that I'm below 75% on this one. If you hover over any measure, you can see the full measure. It's the EMS, first medical contact PCI measure, also falling out here on ECG within 10 minutes. This one needs to be at 85%. And then down below, and just know too that you can do this kind of thing. You can move things around up and down, and so that you can see things a little bit easier. So I'm just gonna scoot things around so that I can see all of my numerators and denominators here for each of my measures and the percent adherence. And so since I know that I have a problem with my first medical contact with EMS measure, I'm going to go here. I've got a numerator of 52, denominator of 79. I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to see this little mark value tab. When you click on that, it's going to load your patients underneath. So this is your case list. This is going to give you all of the patients that fall into, we're looking at STEMI achievement measures. So this is going to give you a list of all 70 or all of your total number of patients. So 218 patients. And then to get to the patients that just have fallen into that measure, you can click on the denominator and arrow down, and the numerator and arrow up. And then I can see who it is that is in my denominator but not in my numerator, and those are my patients. Those are my fallouts. So when you're these are patients that met the measure. They're both in the numerator and the denominator. So I have a number of fallouts in the demonstration site. So you'll be able to look over here at the patient ID. You can also access the case directly. So if you want to start going in to see what was selected on each of these patients, this is going to take you directly into the data collection form and the case. What I frequently do is export this into Excel because it's a really, really nice way to take a look. So I'm going to just go here, export, my Microsoft Excel export. And on this one, you don't need to make any changes here. If you just click export, it's going to get you what you want. And then here you can open up your case list is the tab down here that you're going to want to get into. And this allows you to see all the details. You can start, you can see when EMS first medical contact time was, that kind of thing. And if you want to, just create like your filters in Excel, you can play with it that way, which I like Excel. I often download it into Excel. So I'm going to pause there before we go back to the slide set and just see if there's any questions that anyone has about running the fallout reports. If you want to do another one, like you want to get into the ECG measure, you're just going to click on that one. I'll show you how to do that. And you can mark your values, and it'll change up your case list down below to reflect the patients so that you can get your numerator and denominator for those patients. So *6 to unmute. And if you have a question about how to run the fallout report. And like I said, the instructions for how to do that are going to be on the slide set that we'll send out to you after after we're done.
I just want to mention to make sure you save that spreadsheet or PDF before you log out or time out, because it won't be available to save if you're not if you haven't done it before you leave the registry.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. Yeah, I've done that a number of times where unfortunately I've logged out and my reports go away. So, okay. And then, Kristen, are you able to see my slide set again?
It's a black screen right now. Your demo was kind of hanging on the side.
Okay.
But it's a black screen.
All right, let's see. How about now?
Yep, I can see them now.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to scoot through these next slides because they are the instructions on how to run the fallout reports and get into Recognition 2021. So I know there are those of you who already have your data like you want it for 2019. You're ready for recognition this year, and you're moving on to next year's recognition. So we want you to be aware of some of the recognition measure updates, because we have a number of changes. We've had the same recognition measures for many, many years, and this year we're going to be changing quite a few of them up. So for the STEMI Receiving Center, for discharges, 2020 discharges, so recognition 2021, we are keeping arrival to, the door to balloon at 75%. EMS first medical contact is remaining a measure. Aspirin at discharge, beta blocker at discharge. The aspirin at arrival is retiring as an achievement measure. It's something you can still get to in the reporting section, but it won't be a recognition measure. Beta blocker at discharge, your ACE and ARB at discharge. STEMI composite score is coming back. And then the new ones are door to ECG within 10 minutes at 85%. That's going to be a tough one for some of our facilities. Cardiac rehab referral on discharge at or above 75%. High intensity statin at discharge at or above 75%. And then arrival to first facility to PCI. This is our transfer measure. This is the one that has been a plus measure for us for many, many years. That is moving to a recognition measure. So it's going to be, you're going to need to be at 50% or greater to receive recognition. So always keep in mind that if something enters as a plus measure or it's a reporting measure, that it's likely to become a recognition measure. So I saw your note, Marty. Hi, Marty. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. So Marty is asking about this measure, the second one here, Mission Lifeline EMS first medical contact to PCI in less than 90 minutes or equal to 90 minutes. Or if that transport time is prolonged, so if it's 45 minutes or greater, the time that you get is 120, but you only meet the measure if you make it from your door to PCI within 30 minutes. And the reasoning for that is that the science advisory group that works on these measures feels like if you have someone with that long transport time like that, you should have a heads up from EMS that patient is coming. You've got that 45 minutes to get your team together and to be able just to scoop that patient up and get them right up to the cath lab. So yes, thank you for bringing that up, Marty. That will remain a requirement, door to PCI within 30 when the transport time is delayed. And then The new plus measure. And I think this is going to be a challenge for a lot of facilities. So the old plus measure was transfer. So the patient starts here at the hospital, the timer starts, and then it stops at PCI. Now we are also including the EMS, first medical contact with EMS before arrival to the first hospital. So if there was, if the patient didn't walk in here, if they came in by ambulance, that is when the timer is going to start. That's going to be the new plus measure. So first medical contact at or prior to arrival at the first facility to primary PCI, and a percent adherence of 50%. And note that, you know, if you don't meet this measure, it's not going to keep you from getting recognition. It's just that if you do receive baseline recognition, this is an additional kind of like a gold star or plus recognition that you can get in addition to your baseline recognition. And then NSTEMI recognition, there will be no changes there. So this is going to be like it has been: cardiac rehab, dual antiplatelet therapy. Note that one is at 65%. It's the only one that's lower than the rest at 85%. Gaze and orbit discharge, evaluating LV systolic dysfunction, and adult smoking cessation, advice or counseling. So all of those are the same. And then for our referring hospitals, no changes except for the high-intensity statin at discharge. So when they're keeping the patient there and not transferring the patient out, then, you know, all of these medications at discharge are going to apply to them, including the high-intensity statin. And the plus measure. So for them, the plus measure is door in, door out within 30 minutes. So their recognition measure is that 45-minute door in, door out, but kind of that stretch goal is door in, door out within 30 minutes. And if a referring hospital is able to do that, they receive that additional recognition for meeting the stretch measure. And then we have our National Center team is hosting a webinar series in this spring in 2020, and there's one on February 18th that's going to go over the Get With the Guidelines, coronary artery disease enhancements, and new features. And then we have one in March that's for the STEMI referring hospitals and engagement in the STEMI systems of care, and how referring and receiving hospitals can work together. And we'll have some guest speakers there, some hospitals that are doing that really well. And then in April, Get With the Guidelines, coronary artery disease arrival at first facility to PCI, best practices, and the focus will be on that the entire system of care there. And then in May 2021, recognition. So it'll go more in depth into what I just went over this morning. And then just a reminder that, you know, for those of you who are doing advanced cardiac certifications through the Joint Commission, you know, we have this new partnership, American Heart Association and the Joint Commission. We have 3 options for advanced cardiac certifications. The Joint Commission historically has offered the chest pain certification. They have announced that will be sunsetting, and we don't know when that is going to happen, but the new options for cardiac certifications, advanced cardiac certifications, will be those that you see here: acute heart attack ready for our referring hospitals, and our freestanding EDs are eligible for that as well if they meet the criteria. And then we have the primary heart attack center certification For both of those, Get with the Guidelines coronary artery disease, option 1 or 2 are required for those certifications. Option 3 is not an option for hospitals that are pursuing those advanced certifications. And then for our hospitals going for comprehensive cardiac center certifications, the option 1 or option 2 participation meets the AMI data requirement, that section of the comprehensive cardiac center. So there's other data requirements for comprehensive cardiac center in addition to just AMI, because there's a focus on, EP and arrhythmias and heart failure and valves and things like that as well. But it meets the requirement for the AMI section. And then keep your EMS partners in mind. They have a recognition program as well. You can help them to become recognized. There is no fee for them. They collect their data and they submit it in an online an online link, an online tool, and it's a very big deal for them. Please encourage them to apply. I heard someone yesterday, Kristen had a colleague who had a thought of putting a flyer up in their EMS hospital, down in the ED, the break room, the charting room for EMS, to hang something in there for them so that they can see that this is something that they can do as well. And they need information from you to be able to complete their application. They need to meet that first medical contact to device measure as well. And it's designed to celebrate those agencies that are doing well, that are really focused on getting the patient treated within the timelines and within the guidelines. And like I said, it's a complimentary program for them. There's a web link that provides lots of information for them, FAQ sheets and information about how they can do that. And then their application submission period closes on March 2nd. So similar to our hospitals that are submitting data for recognition. Public reporting, that's live, and we wanted our hospitals that are enrolled in Get with the Guidelines to have an opportunity to show the public how they're doing. It's completely optional. You can opt in or you can opt out. What is displayed is the numerator and denominator for each of your recognition measures and the percent adherence. The public can go in and click, find a hospital, put in their zip code, city, state, radius, and which disease state, so which registry, coronary artery disease, heart failure, resuscitation, stroke, and AFib, and then find a hospital in their area. The website is here. It's Quality Near Me. And, we have done this to satisfy requests for our hospitals that have wanted this for a variety of reasons. For one thing, it helps their customers to see, how they're doing, how they're performing. But also it helps them with various national hospital rankings like U.S. News and World Report. Some of them get credit from their health plans for voluntary public reporting. And then sometimes hospitals need it for their accreditation requirements. This is the last slide, and this is just, for more information and resources. These are some websites that you can go to. We have our affiliate, the Southwest, has our own quality website where you can go in and find webinars that have been recorded. Some of them are even enable you to, get your continuing education hours and things like that you need. And then recognition information and things like that can be found at the Mission Lifeline website at heart.org. So with that, I'll stop and just see if there's any questions. We're so glad that you were able to join us this morning. If you want to come off mute and ask a question, you'll just click *6 on your phone. Not #6. I've made that mistake before, but *6 will unmute your line. And I'm just going to go in and make sure that let's see if there's any questions that have been submitted via the chat box. You can type your question in the chat box. Okay, I see the one, Marty. I know we meet the 120 minutes most of the time, but not the 30 minutes. Yeah, it's hard. It's challenging for sure. Okay. Any other questions before we close out? We will we'll send the slide set.
Hi, I got a quick question.
Hi.
My name's Derek. I'm from St. David's Medical Center, Austin, Texas. Hey, real quick, I apologize. I had big-time traffic coming in, so I was about 15 minutes late starting on this call. Did y'all mention if this was recorded or could be potentially sent out, whether it's the audio or the PowerPoint?
For sure, we'll get the PowerPoint out to you, Derek.
Okay.
And then I'll let Audrey speak to whether or not. I don't think we send the recordings out, but I'm not sure. So, Audrey, are you able to answer that question? Audrey, are you able to hear us?
Oh, yes, sorry. I was talking on mute. Yes, I heard the question.
Okay.
Yes, so we actually upload this to YouTube, so we'll send out the presentation and the slides within 1 to 2 weeks of today.
Okay, great. That's perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Well, and I'd just love to give a very quick shout out. I see that Susan Fruge is on the line, and she is from Texas Health Fort Worth, who just earned their PHAC certification. They are the first in the nation and first in Texas. So just wanted to say congratulations.
Congratulations. What an honor to be the first. Good for you. And you'll have to hit *6 to come off mute, or let me see. Audrey, are you able to unmute Susan if she has anything that she wants to say? She might be muted from our end.
She is unmuted, so.
Am I still muted?
No, we can hear you.
You have your video going as well.
I don't know. I just left it because I couldn't figure it out. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for the congratulations. It was a joint effort and good collaboration and so much help from everyone at the hospital here. Such a good job. So it's definitely we're very proud of each other. Thanks.
Good for you. Thanks for the shout out, Christy. Congratulations.
Hey, Lonnie, it's Kristen. I can't see the names of who all's on the call, but if there's anybody from Arkansas that wants to make an announcement, you can come off mute and make that announcement.
I don't see anybody on. There's not names attached to all of the phone lines, but I don't see anyone on from Arkansas, Kristen.
We also do have a question in the chat box. Is there any discussion of AHA Get With the Guidelines updating the need for statin based on target level of LDL larger than 100? I know guidelines don't use LDL anymore for statin indication.
Yeah, so I'll speak to that and then open it up to Kristen as well. So we, a previous recognition measure for us was statin treatment for anyone that had an LDL at 100 or greater. That one is retiring and being replaced with the high-intensity statin. So it's something that will still, I believe, show up as a reporting measure, so you can still track it and pull the measure into a report. It's just no longer a recognition measure for us. Kristen, do you have anything to add to that?
I was looking real quick in the library to see if there was anything in the achievement measures as far as measure, logic, and rationale for that. Let me look real quick.
Okay. And I think it falls into the reporting measure section now.
We can maybe send this out with the recording.
Yeah.
The information for that as well, since it's a new measure and things have changed. We can just do a PDF and add that with the slides, or put it on the slides.
Yeah, I'll add it to the slide set. That's a good idea. Does that help?
Hi, this is Derek again. I apologize. In the past, Lonnie's been helping me out a lot. I've actually transitioned to this registry not too long ago, but I did have a question for any other people on the call who are much more experienced. Regarding dual antiplatelet therapy, I guess historically I'm not sure if this is a common theme, but historically at our medical center, it's kind of been hovering at 65 or somewhat below. And one of the reasons I was trying to think that I learned through a committee meeting was potentially, are these patients that are being coded as NSTEMIs maybe incorrectly due to showing, mild troponin bumps that may, the hospitalist may say, oh, that's necessarily not an MI, or they were thinking it's an MI, but they're coding it that way, and we're kind of getting dinged that way. Have y'all heard anything about that? I mean, it's maybe old news.
This is Marty from Hendrick. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So on the, correct me if this is wrong, Lonnie, but on the inclusion-exclusion criteria, if it's not, I think those are excluded in the exclusion criteria, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to meet.
So I review each one that's coded out, and I look at what the physicians say in their progress notes, discharge summary, and whether or not the NSTEMI is due to a supply and demand or if it's actually CAD. Does that help? Okay,
great. Yeah, thank you.
And sometimes I send back to the coders if I'm like, this patient did not have a non-STEMI period. I'll send it back and we'll review it, and there are times they change the coding.
Okay, great. So yeah, because I found a few. I go, yep.
Yeah, and Lonnie, what might be helpful is those of us that want to share contact information, it's good to have friends in similar positions to help, not necessarily for just registry, but just as a coordinator with, how do you do it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And Marty, this is Kristen, and so when I was a STEMI coordinator and brand new in my role, I wasn't aware that I could go to the coders and say, hey, this is wrong. Can you fix it? Like, I just didn't know. So that's excellent information, and I'm glad you shared.
Yeah, it's tricky, Derek. So some of those patients can fall into the gray area. Like Marty's, go right to the source. It's a great solution.
I may not either. I may not be their favorite person because I do question a lot. But for good reason.
Yeah, it's good that you can.
We love you, Marty. You're funny.
Hey, at this point, I'll take whatever I can get. I appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions or hints or anything else before we close out? Okay. Well, appreciate all of you so much for all of your hard work and for joining us early this morning. And we'll be in touch. We'll get the slides set out to all of you and with a few additional resources as well. So thanks, everyone. Take care and have a good day. Bye now.